Hi everyone, welcome to another Fairy Tale First Fight video. Now in today's video, I'm going to address something that I get asked a lot, which is what character should I be saving up for? Right? Should I be something on the current banner or should I be waiting for future character, etc. Now my answer is probably going to be different to what a lot of people are thinking, because I don't actually look at the character. I mean, I do look at the character's kit, but that's not the first consideration I have when I apply my own characters. The thing I actually think is the most important is actually magic devices, and I'm going to use this video to tell you why. I personally say magic devices is like the number one hidden factor that everyone should be considering when you are deciding on whether to summon a character or which character do you want to focus on. Now, so what makes magic devices so special, I guess, compared to other ways that you can power up a character? Um, I think one of the biggest thing that makes magic devices different is that it's only semi-transferable to some extent, and I'm going to talk about why I say it's like only semi-transferable. But basically, if you if you look at everything else in this game, I mean the gears they are kind of stuck, but everyone have the same gears, so just nothing we need to talk about there. But if you look about other stuff, other items in this game, there's the Heaven Stone, there's the Energy Stone, there's the Magic Gear. All of them you can transfer from one character to another character. So what that basically means is that you don't really have a risk of making a bad decision because even if you didn't put it on the right character, you can still very easily move it to another character. And the other thing which is special about all of them is that you have a fixed slot. So that normally means that you would just end up by using the best that you have. So for example, if I look at the Heavenstone, I can only put on two. If I look at the energy circle, I can only put on six. If I need to look at the magic gear, I can only put on one. And that basically means is that no matter, for example, how many energy circle I have, I can only put on six of them. So I just need to put on my six best one. So if I have a 6 star rather than a 5 star, I'll be putting my 6 star in vast majority of the time. If I have like a 1 star or 2 star energy stone, I pretty much wouldn't be using them other than using them as food. Same thing for magic gear. I would only be using my lower rarity one to power up my higher rarity one. The lower rarity ones themselves, they don't actually contribute anything else to my character because they don't wouldn't add into my character's power level or stats any other way than being used as a food. But magic devices, totally different. I think this is like the only thing in this game where first of all, everything stacks, like all of the rarity happen at the same time. I will show you later on, but basically what happens is that there are like 8 magic devices for each rarity. There's always like one for more focus on attack, one more focus on HP, and then you get basically those for every single type of characters. So all of them happen at the same time. So for example, you can see I have this gold one, this purple one, and all those this blue one. They're all for versatile and they're all attack focused one. I will talk about what I mean by that later. But they are all happening at the same time. Okay. So this is a one mode in this game where every single bit of resources you pump into this makes a difference. It's not just saying like in unlike the energy circles where once I have maxed out all 6 of my energy stones, I can't improve it any further. That is not quite the same for magic devices. You can almost think that this is unlimited as to what's the maximum number of magic devices this game is going to give you, and that makes it special. The other thing which also makes it different is that it's semi-transferable in the sense that if you actually look at the bonuses, only half of it is actually for every single character. The other half is actually restricted. Now, granted, it's restricted to a pretty big group, right? All versatile characters, all agility characters, all power characters, all wisdom characters. It's a large group of characters, but you cannot transfer that. So if you made a mistake here, right? For example, if I leveled up one particular magic device to the max, and I all of a sudden I realized actually I don't have any power character that I want to use anymore because I don't know there it has been power crap. There are other characters coming out, and I want to use them. I want to use wisdom characters instead now. There's no way for you to transfer your power magic device to your wisdom one, unlike your magic stones, your magic gear, your heaven stones, where you can literally just take them off your character and then put it on the next one. So that's kind of why also magic device is gonna make it you have to pay a lot more attention into this because it's not some a place where you can just make a mistake and just carry on with it. This is actually going to have a big impact in your game, and especially because it's not actually that difficult. It's not actually that easy to get magic devices as well. I'll talk about the ways of getting magic device later on, but yeah, just bear that in mind. It's not easy to get magic device in this game. It's probably one of the hardest items to get hold of, and then you can probably already see where I'm coming from when I talk about character planning. Because they are restricted to only one group of characters, from min-maxing point of view, rather than trying to focusing out on every single character out there, it's going to make a lot more sense for you to just focus on one class of character and therefore only get magic devices for that one class. Because it's going to have a massive impact in terms of how much buff you're going to get. Now, I'm just going to take an example. This one, versatility one, it gives you a 600 buff in attack stats, right? Obviously also give you other stuff like HP, and also once I active awaken it, it also gives me like damage increase, etc. But if I just take a look at the raw stat, that's 600. If I take a look at Luxus, who by the way is 5-star, it's leveled up, right? It's tiered up to the max. I have my gears and skills to as high as possible. Energy stones, full circle. I love the 6-star as well, right? 6 stars. Sorry. 6 star, 6 star, 6 star, and then some 5 star, and then like one 4 star. This is a pretty trained up one, and then same thing, a red magic gear. This is a pretty trained up Luxus. And we all know Luxus is a glass cannon. He is known for his high attacking stat. And how much attacking stat does he have? He has 12,000. If you remember, magic device gives me 600%. Sorry, 600 increase in this stats. So that basically means even for a fully trained up at least at the stage where I am, this is my best character, a glass cannon who's known for magic attack, I can still use my magic device to improve it by another further 5%. And that is not a small amount. Now imagine if I have to do this, and this is just for one color, right? This is just for one magic device. It's an orange magic device, so it's a good magic device, but there's two magic device for every single class of characters of each rarity. So I'm talking about 5% right now, just based on one magic device. If I'm actually adding up all of the magic devices, this is probably more like a 20% increase in total. Now imagine, do you want to have a 20% increase in your stats for all of your characters? Or would you want to have an 80% increase? Because rather than me needing to spread out across four different things, I can concentrate them all on just one type of magic device. Now, so instead of flat 20% increase in all of my stats, I have now instead an 80%, or maybe not 80, but maybe more like 60 or 70 because the incremental is not as large. But still, imagine I have a 60% increase in just the characters that I use regularly the most because I am focusing on just one type of character or one class of character. That's going to have a massive difference because now if you're facing up against other enemies in PvP, etc., there's a 40% stats difference. That is a lot. And that's kind of why I feel like magic device it's actually a lot more important than you think when you need to decide which character to focus on. And for me personally, I'm concentrating only on versatile, and I'll talk about why I personally think versatile is the best. But obviously, if you already focus on other ones, then that's absolutely fine as well. As long as you just focus on one class of character, I think that's gonna make a massive impact to you by focusing on just one magic device type as well. So that's something I really want you guys to take away. Well, at least consider it's the way I play my characters. If you have different thoughts about it, then let me know in the comment section. But at least that's why I think this is like the number one factor when I decide on character. So for me, personally, when character get released first, the first thing I take a look at is what class is it. If it's versatility, which is the one I'm focusing on, I'm gonna pay special attention to them. And if I have good skills and good elemental coverage, then for me that's a keeper. If it doesn't have even the right class I'm focusing on, then what I'm gonna take a look is at okay, do I really need someone for that particular class, even though I know he's not gonna be one of my strongest. And the reason why I still do that is because for certain game modes, it's still gonna matter because there are still game modes where you do need to use cat of each type. For example, Tower Heaven, there are restrictions every now and then where you need to, for example, this one, male power, right? So I still need the power character. Even though Versatile actually works for Tower of Heaven as well, because Versatile can use for all of the type restriction, and that's why I really recommend Versatile over all of the other types. But there are game modes such as Tower of Heaven or Battle of Underworld King, where I have to use a power character, I'll have to use a agility character, I'll have to use a wisdom character, and now there's also further restrictions, say magical, physical, etc. So when a new character get released, I will still take a look at it if there's a power, agility, or wisdom. But by default, I already know this is not going to be a character I'm going to max out all the way to the 6 star. That is, if a character is not within versatility class, i.e. not the class I'm focusing on magic devices for, I may pull on that character for coverage perspective, but it definitely not would not be my first team choice when it comes to like PvP or anything. I'm definitely not gonna 6 star character if it's not within the magic device that I'm focusing on. So that's something you really have to pay attention to. Well, at least for me, that's the way I decide to plan my characters. Now let's take a step back and talk about exactly the different type of magic devices and how to get them. Now the place you normally get them is really just peak contest shop. You basically get them from peak contest, obviously. You get some of those items or currency from reaching certain number of points, right? So for example, I'm very close to 3,500, and once I reach that, I'll get another 1,200 tokens. So that's a lot. And also at end of the is a 2 week period. Yeah, it's 2 week period, but obviously it's ending very soon for me. In fact, it ends today for me. Okay, I still need to do my battles. But basically, what happens is that end of the week or 2 week, end of the season, let's say, depending on where your rank is, you are gonna get a few more things. One, the tokens, where you can use to buy purple or blue magic device, and then also some fragments of the orange ones. Now, for the blue ones, I think you need 10 shards in order to get one. Purple, you need 20. For orange, you need 40. So if you are actually waiting on peak contest for your orange one, it would take you some time. There are other ways of getting those orange shards, which I'm talking about later. But yeah, basically for your peak contest, that's where you would be getting vast majority of your blue and your purple ones. Now, for reference, how fast is it? I am currently towards, I think towards the end of week 6, I believe, since playing this game, and I almost have enough for another purple one. I already redeemed one purple and I redeemed one blue, and I'm almost able to redeem another purple. So for simplicity, obviously I am actually doing pretty well here. Not sure where other players are. If you need help on this, by the way, I do have a tier list, which now I do feel is even more reflective because I am able to progress a lot more after I thought about the best character when I was creating my tier list. So now I'm actually rank 14s, whereas before I actually put that kind of methodological approach, I was more like rank 100 or so. So I definitely think like creating that tier list actually helped me myself as I think about what are the best character with the teams for peak content. So definitely do check that out. It's on my channel if you haven't watched it already. But yeah, basically I personally think I'm actually doing pretty well in peak contest. And after 6 weeks, I was only able to get two purple and one blue. Well, just about to get two purple and one blue. So for an average player, I'm guessing if your server is more competitive, for example, you'll probably only be able to get two purple after 6 weeks, which then would mean that's only one purple every 3 weeks. So now imagine if you are once again spreading your resources out everywhere, how long is it actually going to take you to in order to max out all of your magic devices? Because it's not just getting it once, you also need to start it up. I don't even know what happens after you restart it, whether it then potentially do something else. But those are all the things you need to pay consideration. It's not easy to get magic devices. So purple, I already talked about how difficult it is. It takes a long time for you to concentrate on it. Orange, even harder, right? Once again, put it into perspective. 6 weeks in, I only have one orange. So I do actually have quite a few fragments, but that's more because our guild is actually doing pretty well competitively. Because if we take a look at the guild challenge, you get some fragments basically from doing this. Not too many. We are still able to secure two of those orange ones every week, so that's good. But if you're not in a good guild, then obviously it's more difficult for you. And also in the guild clash, every single time, depending on where your guild comes up, we are then able to get a few more magic devices fragments. So like what I'm saying, right now I have 19, and also I also just remember. I didn't even get all of them from guild. I also managed to get some from total recruit because there's this one, right? I managed to get 20 from here last time when I do my massive free-to-play summon videos. So because I also got another 20 here, if I subtract those 20 away from the 19 I have already, basically what that's saying is that after 6 weeks of playing, I only have exactly one orange device, and that is considered I am actually in very, very good guild. Like we are normally like top three in the cross server. So if you are in a weaker guild, then obviously you're not going to get nowhere near as much magic device as me. So this is going to actually take you more than 6 weeks. So now once again, it's not going to be realistic for you to focus on every single class. You have to pick your battles. You have to pick your devices. And that's why, once again, makes sense for you to concentrate on just one class and therefore only have characters from that one single class. Now, orange is not even the hardest one. The hardest one is the red gear, which I don't even know whether you guys want to consider. I am considering purely because I know I'll be playing this game for long term. But basically, you can also get those mystery medals from various different events. Like it's ridiculous to try to collect them. But basically, with 400, you are then able to buy another magic device. Now, for those ones, basically, where do you get the mystery medals from? You can, I think you get. Okay, so you can get a few here by buying with diamonds. I think you get them from top ups somewhere as well. I'm not sure where. Uh, yeah, so I think every now and then that you are able to get like a tiny amount from topping up, I think. But the main place where I get it, once again, if you take a look at where I am, I actually have 120, which is a lot. I am once again getting it from the rebate events. If you take a look at here, and this is something I definitely recommend everyone to do, by the way. Basically, when I done all of my summons last time, I am able to collect 80 mystery medals, all in total. Now, if you actually want the most optimal return, what you actually want to do is only 100 summons each time. Because after 100 summons, you get 10 back. And that basically means it's a very good ratio. If I actually do all 1,000, I only got 80 back. So the ratio is not as good. So you definitely want to do minimum 100 every single time when this type of event come on. So the character rebate event and also the magic gear summon rebate event. Both of them do at least 100 every single time. So that's kind of why it's still important for you to buy those normal tickets and also the Magic Gear tickets whenever they're on huge discount because you will definitely be wanting to have them for those rebate events, to collect mystery medals. That is basically where I got all of my mystery medals. A tiny portion also come from Guild Clash, but once again, it kind of depends on how good your guild is and how good your server is, like how good where you are competitive in your server, because you get them from your personal achievement. If you're actually doing pretty well, you can rank up another one or two if you're within the first 29 players for each of the contests. Then you can get at least like one, sometimes two. Like the top half is like pretty much just for Wales. Normally I am within top 30, so I get like one or two mystery medal every now and then every week. So that's another way of getting up. But as you can tell, it's pretty slow. Once again, if you use me as a benchmark, right? I optimize my mystery medal collection, I say pretty well because I save out of my diamonds for the only doing the summoning rebate event, etc. But still, after 6 weeks, I only have 120. So basically, you only get it at like 20 mystery medal per week. If I need 400, I need to have 20 weeks. That's a ridiculous long amount of time. Okay. So once again, magic device not easy to get. If you are saving up for a red one, especially, we're talking about like half a year just to get one. So definitely plan very carefully about which magic device to get because they do have a big impact. I already talked about you can potentially get 60% increase in stats for just one class of character rather than spreading it all out. But it's very important for you to plan accordingly in order to actually hit that. Okay. Oh, also one other thing I did mention. For magic devices, there are different type of magic devices. There are 8 of each color except for red and orange. Red, there are only 4. Orange is a very weird one. I don't know whether it's a bug or something. But basically, what happens is that you would have there are four class of characters, right? There's versatile, power, wisdom, agility. You have two for each class, and there's normally one more focus on attack, one more focus on HP. So if you don't, let's take this purple one. What you see is I have this one, which I'll give 100 attack stats for versatile characters and 2000 for HP. And then I also have this one, which instead only gives 700 for HP, but 300 for attack. So basically, there's one which is more attack focused and one which is more HP focused. And that's the case for both blue and also purple. For red, because they're only four, so you just have one of each class. Orange is the odd one out. For whatever reason, there's only seven. So basically, you have two for each class, except for power, which only have one. So I have no idea what's going on with the orange magic device, whether you would potentially be getting a power one for free, was via a different route, or they just made a bug and they screwed this up. So as far as I'm aware, probably don't want to choose power as the class you want to focus on. That's just something I'm gonna suggest you because you have less buff you're able to give to power class characters. Now, on top of this, something else I want to mention is that because the different classes do form a rock paper scissors relationship, you may be thinking, I probably still want some of each class and then change it up as the character goes, who the enemy is, and then pick another character who's better. That is true to some extent, but once again, if you have all the magic devices up available, we're talking about like a 60% buff in stats as opposed to 20% buff to stats. I'm pretty sure that difference between 60% and 20%, that's a 40% difference. It's more than enough to make up any kind of rock paper scissors relationship. So whilst it's still nice to have the right rock paper scissors or counter advantage over the enemies, I think if you are really focusing on your magic devices, you are definitely not going to feel losing out purely because you are facing up not against the right type of enemy. Or you can just do what I do, which is versatile, so you do not lose out to anyone at all. Which is once again another reason why I really recommend versatile if you are kind of focusing in the same or planning in the same way that I am doing my character summonings. So that's kind of something else I also want to bring to you guys' attention. So that's everything about magic device itself, and hopefully that made it clear why magic device is very important for you guys. And now I'm going to finish off the video just showing you a chart which I created with all of the different characters and their elemental coverage and also what classes they are to help you guys to kind of decide how to plan your characters. Now, for me, the first thing I think for you guys to do is decide which one to go after. If you are fairly uniform on everyone right now, then I suggest, just go for versatile as well. I definitely say versatile has a lot more advantages over other ones. For the fact that you don't lose out against any type of type mismatch, and you have even more characters to use in Tower Heavens. So I definitely think versatile is probably the best class to choose. However, if you're already very heavily focused on one character, for example, you've already got Mina to 6-star, then fine. Maybe you just want to go on power. All of the different classes do have good characters, right? So you're definitely not saying, just only versatile have the best characters. You have some good characters in every single class. It's more kind of about where you are in your box right now. Have you already made that decision to really focus on one class of character, or is it still time for you to switch back onto versatile characters? So that's something you have to pay attention to. Now, what I would recommend you to do is I'm going to use versatile as an example because that's the route I'm taking. So I'm most familiar with it. But basically, what you want to do is you want to do as much character as you can in versatile because they are all going to get, potentially 60% buff once you have all the magic devices. And then for any elemental coverage gaps, you then try to pick from the other classes in order to complement your box so that you actually have a way of dealing with all of the game modes. You probably want to pick two for each of the other classes that you are not training up because for Battle of Underworld King, you would need one for each of those classes and rotate between you needing physical and also magical unit. So you definitely want to have at least one physical and one magical for all of the other ones. And you kind of just pick from the other classes to bridge the gap that you may have in the class you're focusing on. So for me, for example, in versatile, if I just look across all of this, I can see that okay, I have pretty much good elemental coverage in all of them except for dark. Because for dark, what you see is I have two characters with only half dark element attacks rather than completely dark. So that already shout out to me is that I need to try to pick a dark character from the other classes. So Midnight would be a good choice, or Cobra, Jose, those all those would be really good choices. So that's one element I definitely need to help with from other classes, to try to make sure I have that good coverage. The other one I will also need help with would be Ice, right? Because for Ice, the only one here is going to be Erto, who is a festival character. So that is going to be a character I know for a fact. It's not going to be easy for me to get. So very likely I am going to have a bit of a gap in ice element as well. So if that's the result, I then need to have a good ice character. And already, if you actually take a look at it this way, I can already see there's no ice power character either. So in order for me to have that cover up my gap in ice, I have to only use wisdom or agility. So what am I going to do in power? For power, I will probably try to pick a character which can bridge up my darkness gap. So that would be midnight. That's is basically my lines of thoughts when I think about character planning. And that's only provided I actually know who the future characters are, right? So this kind of works if you're just starting out in the game and you say, oh my god, there's so many characters in this game. Which ones should I plan for? And this, I think, is a good way for you to decide which characters you want to focus on in long term. Now, obviously, if a new character get released, then what I typically do is that I would take a look, first of all, to see whether they are a versatile character. If they are, I'll pay special attention because very likely that's going to be a character I want to use in long term. Now, if it's not a physical element, if it's not a versatile class, what I'll be looking at is that I'll be looking at what element does that character have. Is it going to help a gap that I potentially have right now from my versatile classes? And also, is a physical or magical unit? Would they be able to help me to do some extra damage in the Battle of Underworld King? So those would be the question I would be asking if it's a character not from the class that I want to focus on. But yeah, this is kind of a high level overview of why I personally say magic device is so important in character planning, and this is how I plan for my characters. Granted, is probably a bit unorthodox because I guess you can say it's a bit weird why I'm planning my characters not based on the actual character kits themselves, but I certainly think there's huge benefit to it in long term because it is a very, very important area, which is very hard to get resources of. But yeah, do let me know in the comment section whether you agree with this approach or not, or what, in generally, what are the things that you mostly look at when you are deciding whether to summon a character.